Coming up on Valley View News, a missing Indonesian submarine was found on the seafloor near Bali over the weekend. Plus, a vintage flea market is the first of its kind to open in Oxnard. And what some CSUN students are saying about this year's graduation ceremony.
Hello, and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Jordan Henry.
And I'm Andrea Esparza in the Digital Media Center.
Los Angeles County reported less COVID cases and hospitalizations as more people got vaccinated. The county public health director strongly suggests everyone who is eligible to get vaccinated. Authorities are reminding people that anyone 16 or older living in Los Angeles County can get vaccinated without booking an appointment. Officials say they'll resume the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines along with the required warnings about rare instances of blood clots.
It's been more than a year since the European Union stopped all non-essential travel in order to slow the spreading of coronavirus. This summer, fully vaccinated Americans will be able to visit the EU.
Americans have to take the same precautions that they're going to take wherever they go, whether it's the United States or within the U.S. or in the EU.
So the 28% of fully vaccinated Americans can now travel to different EU countries.
The CDC is preparing for the return of summer camps. It's issuing new COVID-19 guidelines. They say everyone at the camp should wear masks all the time. Social distancing should be enforced after the camp employees are vaccinated. So far, vaccines are readily available for children. Also, the CDC recommends camp activities take place outside as much as possible. People can find a new list of guidelines on the official CDC website.
COVID-19 restrictions continue to interfere with graduation celebrations. Several CSUN students are upset with the options offered for this year's graduating ceremony. Our reporter Casey Contreras has more.
Some students are upset about the new graduation options offered by California State Northridge. Like last year, graduates won't walk across the stage. 2021 senior Sandra Arimi says she feels shortchanged.
I understand the circumstances, the global circumstances, and if my family can't make it, at least make it for us, because it's ultimately like, it's not my family graduating, it's me that's graduating. Like, I should feel like I'm done.
Last year, graduate Brittany Weeks was the first in her family to receive a college degree. She says she appreciates the university's efforts, but what bothered her the most last year was the lack of communication from the school to the 2020 graduating class.
It's not going to be fun sitting in your car just like... There's not going to be people around watching the parade. I mean, everybody's just going to be in the car.
Christopher Aston is CSUN's interim co-director of new student programs and ceremonies. He says CSUN did everything it could to give students the graduation they deserve. Ultimately, space limitations and COVID-19 precautions forced the school to continue with a virtual format. An in-person car parade will also be part of ceremonies this time.
The way our route is patterned, their car and their person, they're going to be driving right in front of the university library for a picture opportunity. That's experiencing the university like no other. Nobody's been able to do that. So this is a brand new kind of wow, that's happening. And if all goes correct, they will hear their name announced aloud on a loudspeaker as they're driving past.
Registration forms for both the online commencement ceremony and the car parade are available now online on the CSUN website. For more information, you could check out the commencement guide online. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Casey Contreras.
Apple says it's investing $430 billion and adding 20,000 new jobs to the U.S. economy. The tech giant said it'll invest $1 billion in North Carolina alone. Its North Carolina operation will create at least 3,000 jobs involving machine learning, artificial intelligence, and software engineering. North Carolina is expected to receive about $1.5 billion in economic benefits from Apple's investment.
The family of Andrew Brown has seen 20 seconds of the body cam footage that shows revealing facts about his last moments of life. There, his family witnessed Brown's hands firmly on the steering wheel, an act that his family describes as non-threatening and shouldn't have resulted in death.
It's so very important that we have transparency, because if we don't have transparency, we can never get to accountability.
His attorney reaffirmed that Brown's hands were on his steering wheel and that in fact wasn't reaching or touching anything. Brown remained in his car while being shot.
In an effort to get CSUN to hire more professors of color, some students marched around campuses demanding changes. Valley View News reporter Justin Miranda tells us more.
A group called Diversified Seasoned Professors held a demonstration on campus. Students, professors, and activists gathered in front of the university's sign. Organizer Daniel Garcia says this demonstration was created by concerned students, professors, and members of the community.
Diversifying seasoned professors is one about a representation mattering, right? Like if you know the statistics, you know that students of color aren't being well represented.
Demonstrators carried homemade signs and marched with them throughout the day.
Our streets! Our streets! Our streets!
A group of students, grad students, you know what I'm saying, credential students, you had undergrad students, you had black students, Asian students, white students, Latinx students.
Before the march, the organizers, some seasoned professors, and community activists rallied the crowd.
I am a Chicano, I'm a Boricua, I'm a man of color.
CSUN graduate student Robert Hogg says Diversified Seasoned Professors is a group that supports the school's professors of color. It's advocating for a more diverse faculty.
I'm white, I'm teaching a ton of people from LA, I'm not from LA, or who have different experiences than me, and I realize that I can't give them that, and I want somebody in the department who can.
This is only the beginning for Diversifying Professors. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Justin Miranda.
Customs and Border Protection officers seized more than $4 million worth of methamphetamine at a Far Reynosa International Bridge in Texas. Officials used a non-intrusive imaging system to find the contraband. It was in a tractor trailer carrying a shipment of cucumber pickles. More than 200 pounds of meth was hidden inside. The CBP and the Department of Homeland Security are still investigating the origins of the shipment.
President Biden has completed his third month in office. According to the average of polls, Biden's approval rating sits about 54%. Most of Biden's presidency has focused on managing the COVID-19 crisis. His approval rating hasn't gone above 55%. His low bottoms at 52%. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said many people expect Biden to be more conservative.
I do think that the Biden administration and President Biden has definitely exceeded expectations that progressives had.
Biden's average approval during his 3 months is slightly less than 54%.
The Biden administration will expand the summer food program for children. It'll use $34 million from the COVID-19 relief package. Eligible children will get $6.82 a day in food assistance. That adds up to $375 for the entire summer. Also starting in July, low-income families can get about $250 a month for children between ages 6 and 17. Those families with children under the age of 6 could receive as much as $300 a month. Children who are getting free or reduced price meals are also eligible for the summer benefits program.
Every Friday, the Calza Care Foundation gives families in Pacoima a week's worth of food. Reporter Lizette Ceja went to the drive-through food pantry to see how this resource helps families during the pandemic.
It's 2:30 in the city of Pacoima, and cars line up for the drive-through food pantry at the Calza Care Foundation. People like Mariela Rodarte patiently wait for the food pantry to open for food and produce distribution.
I got here at around 3. I started by the freeway by the buildings on the other side of the street.
Every Friday from 4 to 6 in the afternoon, approximately 900 families receive a week's worth of food and produce. Juan Abelard is unemployed due to the pandemic. He says he relies on what he gets from the pantries.
Thank you for everything with this virus. Everything has gone up. This helps a lot of people, including myself.
Before COVID-19, the Calza Care Foundation would serve only 80 families in the community once a week. The need has increased 600%. To make sure that all families who line up are served, 50 volunteers come to donate their time. They help open trunks and gather basic information from families to better understand the community's needs.
Our volunteers are absolutely amazing. I think 95% of them are all under the age of 25.
The Calza Care Foundation was first established in 2013 as a place of worship for Sikhs. Today, Calza is a vital resource for residents in the city with the highest COVID-19 case rates.
From Pacoima, Lisette Ceja for Valley View News.
More to come on Valley View News. California works toward passing a bill that'll benefit animals, and see how the streets of Vintage Flea Market became a blessing for struggling online businesses.
Now let's get updates on what's happening internationally from Gina Wong in Studio B.
India's second wave of COVID-19 infection shows no signs of slowing down. The country's healthcare system faces shortages of hospital beds, oxygen, medicines, and vaccines. Senior Biden administration advisor Anita Dunn said the U.S. will donate AstraZeneca vaccines to countries like India.
This virus isn't going to be kept out by any wall. There's no wall high enough to keep the virus out. It's a global health emergency.
The World Health Organization said last week that 1 in every 3 new coronavirus cases globally are in India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government faces criticism for letting large crowds gather at religious festivals and election rallies. Johns Hopkins University data showed that last month more than 48,000 people died from COVID-19. 45 people died and more than 150 were injured, resulting from a stampede in northern Israel. 6 Americans were killed. The stampede took place during the religious ceremony of Lag BaOmer, where tens of thousands celebrate Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. The country remains in mourning. It's unclear what caused the stampede. Israel's prime minister promises an investigation. Frustrated Manchester United fans stormed the Old Trafford Stadium, causing the match against Liverpool to be postponed. Fans are demanding that the American owners sell the club. They're upset that the club didn't make it into the European Super League. There were clashes between fans and police. Glass bottles were thrown and flares were set off. The Premier League has yet to announce a new date for the rematch. The American Glazer family also owns the NFL's Tampa Bay Bucks. After violent and widespread protests, Colombian President Iván Duque backed off from introducing a tax reform bill. The protests led to multiple deaths around the country since they began. The Colombian government believes that reform is needed to stabilize the nation's finances. Duque said the law would be revised to remove some of its controversial points. Leading Myanmar swimmer Win Get-u wants his country's Olympic Committee expelled from the Olympic movement. He said nations involved in genocide don't deserve to be part of the Olympics. His criticism of Myanmar's Olympic Committee pretty much erases his chances of competing at the Tokyo Games. The military-led Myanmar regime is accused of various crimes and numerous deaths. Win Get-u is no longer listed as a member of the Myanmar national team. I'm Gina Wong in Studio B. Back to you, Andrea.
Because it's indoors, bowling is one of the last sports to reopen during the pandemic. Valley View News reporter Justin Miranda shows how the Matador Bowl in Northridge complies with new safety regulations.
Many Los Angeles County bowling alleys like the Matador Bowl recently have been reopening after being closed due to the pandemic. Manager Carlos Serrano says many safety rules are in place for people who are bowling.
We do timed reservations for our guests, so they get 90 minutes.
The Matador Bowl is limited to 25% capacity. All bowlers and staff must wear masks at all times. Todd Harton said he used to come here at least twice a week. Now, he's glad to be back bowling.
We were ecstatic because I bring my 9-year-old here. He's basically grown up here since he was little. He's been bowling here, so we were like...
Harton says besides wearing a mask, bowling here feels the same, but safer.
There's nobody in the lane right next to you. Usually it's, you're bowling in this lane, somebody's right here, so it's every other lane, so I know that already limits capacity. So yeah, they're doing things to sort of mitigate risk and keep us separate.
The Matador Bowl also built new tall and noticeable screen protectors for each bowling lane.
Those are probably 7-foot screens, glass screens. It's another precaution, so it seems really well done, and we were very comfortable coming in and bowling again.
When the Matador Bowl closed due to the pandemic, the owner decided to open an outdoor pop-out restaurant to help the employees stay active. Reporting for Valley View News, I'm Justin Miranda.
Former Olympic champion and reality TV personality Caitlyn Jenner is running for California governor. She says transgender girls shouldn't compete on girls' teams in schools. Jenner is an advocate for transgender rights and says it's a question of fairness. This is her first comment on the controversial matter after announcing her candidacy. Jenner got criticism from some in the transgender community because they say she hasn't shown leadership on behalf of transgender rights.
Starting May 11th, the Los Angeles Dodgers will offer fully vaccinated seating sections. The seats are located on the right side of the field in the reserve levels. Also, in efforts to encourage fans to get vaccinated, the team will give 20% discounts on the seats. Social distancing won't be required in the area, but fans must still wear masks, except while drinking or eating. People 16 and older must show proof of a second dose at least 2 weeks before the game, and those under 16 must show proof of negative test results. Children under age of 2 are exempt. The team hosted a fully vaccinated section last month and it sold out.
Main Street in downtown Ventura shut down to all vehicle traffic at the start of the pandemic. It was dubbed Project Main Street Moves and helped keep revenue flowing under COVID-19 restrictions. Reporter Leslie Gama tells us more.
Main Street in downtown Ventura shut down for all vehicle traffic. Now instead, Main Street is open for businesses and restaurants providing outdoor seating. The project is called Main Street Moves. It started in March 2020. Manager of Nature's Grow, Thomas Larson, said it made room for new opportunities.
We've been able to offer outside seating, which has been very helpful because we, for a long time, didn't have indoor seating.
Main Street Moves created safe spaces for county residents who wanted to get outdoors safely during the pandemic. Kyler Carlson lives down Main Street. He says fewer cars means more fresh air in his neighborhood.
Places I feel like in Ventura where the number of people during COVID hasn't decreased.
The street closure has been a lifeline to businesses and the community. It was planned by the Associate Director of Downtown Ventura, Kevin Clarisi. He says the change added more space for the community. Also, business revenue has improved tremendously compared to other localities that have had to shut down during the pandemic.
At a time when other communities were seeing, double-digit bankruptcies or closures, we didn't experience that at all.
Main Street Moves is a proven lifeline for many businesses in Ventura. The city is currently looking for ways in which they can permanently shut down the street. Reporting in Ventura for Valley View News, I'm Leslie Gama.
When we come back, how an amusement park in San Diego is keeping guests safe after reopening. Also, a dessert shop takes pudding to the next level. Stay with us.